before diving into the topic, I would like to invite my panelists to introduce. Frederic, would you like to start, please?
So Frederic, Director of Design and Research, so heading a team of designers, so from product design, marketing design, content design, and also a team of researchers, so user research, market research, and working for LoveHolidays, an online travel agent.
Great, thanks, Patrick. Hi, I'm Swagat. I'm Global Director for Digital Commerce with Marc Snacking, which is the chocolate business. Pretty new to the world, 7 months in, but not new to this world of technology and CPG. I was with Diageo for the last 17 years, but my current role is mostly setting up digital commerce capabilities, and time could have been better because now we can do so much more with AI.
Yeah, hi, and I'm Tony. I'm 3 months in to my role at Hargreaves Lansdown as interim CMO. So I'm kind of in the thick of it right now there, but previous to that I was CMO at Weight Watchers and Disney. So kind of a breadth of experience across different sectors and always kind of been in this space in terms of just marketing transformation and digital disruption and how do we kind of manage that for business.
Cool, wonderful, thank you very much. So I'm complementing this experience, bringing the academic side and the research side. So after being in business, now I'm a professor of marketing and innovation at Hult International Business School. So let's see how these two worlds are getting together, and I think there is quite a lot for us to explore. So basically now I'm leading a piece of research on how AI can be adopted faster and can really drive growth, and basically also looking to Gen Z, which probably were very passionate about understanding, so how they adopt, how they use different technologies, and how they drive. How can they bring this into the business? So I would say the first question would be, what's happening currently in the business world, and how these different tools can help us to serve better our consumers? Any thoughts? Would you like to? Maybe Frederic, would you like to start? I think you have very interesting stories you shared with us yesterday. So.
Okay, so I would say definitely we are moving from more of a playground type of area. So that was kind of last year or mid this year. Also, everyone in the company would just play with things in a fairly random way to something which is more kind of playground to production. So now it's about actually showing value. A lot of the time it's about actually showing value internally. So around efficiency, automation, but empowering internal teams. So for example, at LoveHolidays, we've got an insight assistant, which is basically an AI bot. We feed it all of our voice of the customer data, so reviews, so Trustpilot, different sources, some of our demographic data, and link it to a Slack channel. And basically anyone, so product managers, all the marketing teams can basically do conversation analytics. So ask it, what are the top 3 complaints from last week? What are the I don't know, the potential opportunities in Germany and etc. And basically, the power I think of AI is to be able to create this kind of connection between all of these data sets and etc. So instead of having a team of analysts, trying to put things together and then create this boring dashboard, and then each of us trying to translate the graph we see, is basically interacting with an entity in a kind of more fluid way, and then extract insight from that. So I think there are a lot of cases around this, which is quite interesting.
That's very, very interesting. So maybe any thoughts around, is AI basically delivering a competitive edge these days, or is just a tool?
I don't think so. And I'll clarify. Yeah, it's not a competitive edge because all of us here have exactly the same edge. But we all need to acknowledge that AI gives us that superpower. Yeah, it's up to us how do we use it, right? Because of course it's very exciting to see what AI can do, and I've seen the trend changing. Last year, same time here, we would have been speaking about what's exciting in world of AI. Today, all of you are looking at us saying that, okay, what the hell are you doing out of it? So I think that is the big shift, and hence, it is an edge for everyone. It's a superpower to do much more, much faster, much better. But obviously, it depends how each one of us will use it. And yeah, And be fooling myself if I say I'm doing something and my competition is not. We all are trying to do the same thing.
I think
Whoever does it better.
I was just going to add, I think the key there is optimization and actually focusing in on specific use cases that you can actually do and do well. And I think, because I would say we're all on this journey, none of us have the right answer for how it really is being used correctly, I think. We're all trying to figure that out. And I think back to Frederic's point is, it feels like what was started out in the Wild West is now getting a little bit kind of a relaxed state or a pulled back state to kind of like forget about the frenzy and just try to look at really specific use cases that we can actually hold our head up high and say we've seen changes here, and whether it's optimization or performance capabilities, or getting teams to focus on other areas because automation has been able to provide them more space to think and test different things. So I think for me, the competition and tool pieces are complementary, because if we can become more efficient in what we're doing, our output potentially becomes greater, and maybe that's where the competitive edge kind of comes into it if we're moving forward on that.
Yeah, wonderful. I think basically we are moving from AI being or using a set of tools, and some of them existing from quite a long time already, if we talk about any performance kind of tools, into how to integrate this with different options available, and basically integrate the generative AI as part of what we use and create solutions. Any case studies? I think Frederic already started building up on this, but I don't know, Tony, any case studies from your side, something you use and you'd like to share with?
Well, no, I think it's about kind of like figuring out what we're using AI for. So I think a lot of it is, we've been using it for a while in personalization and optimization. So I'm really doubling down on how we actually can get really robust, always on A/B testing in place, and potentially using straight copy kind of options where AI can kind of deliver maybe succinct messages. We'll get into the humanization piece on that, but always with kind of a human eye, so it just kind of still feels natural and authentic to your brand's tone of voice. But the personalization and optimization that AI can deliver, how do we do that at scale and make that work really hard for us? Then there's the other side of the AI in terms of like, how does it help with creation and content creation and idea generation and value proposition articulation? And for me, those are two separate areas of kind of that whole end-to-end space of AI. And so for me, I'm kind of still in that kind of former kind of like optimization, personalization piece, and trying to just slowly test into some of the other options there that AI offers.
Wonderful.
If I can,
Yes, please.
because I know it probably won't bring a competitive edge, but I think it will benefit smaller teams more than bigger teams, which then will be interesting. So for example, LoveHolidays, we are a fairly small company, 400 or 500. Our kind of top two competitors, like, I don't know, a few thousand. But so we did some research and identify a particular problem, which is around image quality. So basically, we've got hotels and etc. So people using images to assess the quality, relevance of an hotel. And because contrary to our competitors, we don't own a hotel, so it's kind of harder for us to control the quality of images and etc. So we are just receiving the images and then putting them out there. But using AI, we basically could first identify the meaning of an image. So we could actually, out of 50, we could say, oh, these 4 are for the bedroom, these 3 are for the bathroom. So we could actually tag, categorize, which then means we could control the order, but we could also put aesthetic score. So basically, actually automatically, we could say that's a bad image, that's a good image. And we could also enhance an image, so resolution, clarity. And basically, we saw like a 2% conversion uplift. But all of this was because we didn't have enough humans to basically do that manually. But if we had, we wouldn't even have thought about that. But basically, to do the same work, we would probably need 100 plus humans. So I think it will start to benefit actually the small teams.
And I kind of agree that if not competitive, it's getting everyone level ground. I think one of the best example in CPG industry is Innocent in pre-Coke days. I'm talking of a couple of years back. I think they were one of the best people to manage their social media. And it's still one of the best examples. If you go and see their chats on Instagram, they reply to you quite fast. So they're using human with the intelligence of AI to beat it. So definitely it gets everyone on a level ground.
Wonderful, and I think these examples, are showing how AI can help us to become more creative in using resources and identify new solutions, but also looking further on to the personalization at the end of the day and the way how we engage with customers. So that brings me basically to the part around creativity. Yeah, so and humanizing. So we all know, and then that's one of the examples and things I see every day with our students. They use AI on a regular basis. It's very much in their writing, in their creative proposals of their challenges or any kind of projects. But it's very easy to identify when something have not been done by them, it's done by AI. While you create something which is more closer to what we expect as customers. What's happening in your industries? How you really balance this part of creativity? How you bring the human side and humanize AI? Or so how that can be done?
I think it's very simple, and often the other question that comes is AI going to take all of our jobs? But I think more importantly, the fact is AI will make us do things faster. And coming back to creativity, I'm sure everyone in this room, when there's a new project in your team, we all jump on the most creative jobs. We are humans, we are creative by our DNA, and we want to do some creative work. And hence, I think it's really, really important, and that will continue, is that we need to be in center of how we are addressing consumers in our marketing, in the best way. We need to stay passionate for that. We need to decide what's that communication. We need to decide what's the journey you want to give. And staying in the center, then you can orchestrate automation and AI around it, that how do you best deliver this. And getting it live in, with an example, if anyone uses your dynamic creative optimizations or tools like those, often they fail because we expect the machine to do everything. Versus when you say, this is my audience, this is the creative that works, these are the copies that work, and these are the kind of occasions I wanted to win. And then you ask the machine to pick up the right data signal to show the right creative in the right time, then probably does really well.
Any thoughts?
First, I want to say that actually probably it's easy to detect the fact that the students used it because they don't use it properly, but that's my
I think that's absolutely.
Because I think there are two things. So one is in terms of creativity, one can use an AI assistant to basically go further. So instead of going to ChatGPT and say, I don't know, give me an idea for a workshop, blah, blah, because then it's going to be generic and fairly boring, one can basically go the other way, so a reverse, so almost like a critical thinking interaction. So actually tell the bot to extract information from you by only asking you questions. So basically you become this kind of collaborator. So you will have basically just the AI assistant asking you questions and kind of forcing you to define the brief, basically. Then you use that, so basically the information you give it as a prompt, then you get actually really interesting answers. So a lot of the time is because we, as humans, we use a shortcut and we don't use the tool properly. So these are, but if we use it properly, we get so much more out of it. But also, so for example, we are using an AI assistant as a content assistant for the editorial team and the marketing team. But basically, we trained it on our tone of voice, all of our content guidelines and etc. So it's not just ChatGPT, popping up stuff. It's basically an AI assistant who is part of the editorial team because it's got the knowledge. He's been kind of corrected a few times. He actually understands why he shouldn't do this or say this, why he should do this or say this. And then the folks use it for the first draft. So they got, let's say, an emergency message. They need to put something out there within a few minutes. They use it for the first draft, and then they refine it. But yeah, it's elevate, I think, the quality of what we put out there.
And that just shows that the human interaction is still required. You have to kind of have that depth of understanding of tone of voice and what is right and what's wrong and authenticity. And that's, there's a blend of that, but that's not going to be done by AI alone anytime soon. I don't think it's going to get more sophisticated and faster, but I still think we as humans need to kind of inject our own empathy and authenticity and brand voice within that. And I think just like you, we're using it and testing it more around idea generation and breadth of kind of that first level of understanding and opportunity. So value proposition work that we're doing, or creative ideas and briefing processes, just to kind of get scale across competition and what competitors are doing at scale more than what we can actually do and spend time ourselves gathering. Helps us again be more efficient in kind of then what do you build on top of that through the human lens.
Yeah, wonderful. So I think authenticity probably is one of the key areas here and the key topic, how we keep authenticity, and then that's something which still AI is not there. And probably it's not about AI replacing creative or replacing marketeer. It is about AI or marketeers or creativity plus AI replacing current way of working and doing things, and us getting better in using this. And I think your example, Frederic, was great, and the others too, about how to integrate this into work and day-to-day life, and then making sure that we get the best out of it. So learning how to use it, learning how to do the prompts, and learning how to what to ask for to get something which is relevant and meaningful. Of course, this will place a point around ethics. Yeah. So what would be your thoughts around this? Ethical use of AI. Where will be any kind of element which will feel like borderline, or some challenges you face from this perspective?
Who wants to start?
Please, Marc.
I think the interesting and the scary part of AI is that you can do everything, right? And that's why we need to be a little careful. But I think the rule is simple. Obviously every company is trying to build their AI council and everything, and you should have one. But I think before you act on doing anything with AI, the simple question is it good for you, yourself, people around you, your family, your peers, your organization, and the world around you? If you think that you're doing justice and you're staying responsible for this, then you should do it. But you need to be extra careful. It's always good to take a second opinion on what can be done, and that's why I think most of companies officially, unofficially have like AI council. Some of them might not have AI council, but a group of people who understand or can question, look, step into devil's shoes and ask you a few questions, not with intent to derail you, but to keep you and the organization safe. So I think it is really, really critical to do that. If you want to experiment, please go ahead. All the AI tools are available in a personal level to use, swiping your credit card or for freewares. But when you're trying to do it beyond just testing in your closed environment, we need to all stay a little responsible.
No, definitely. And we heard earlier talk earlier today about security, and data security and websites and any other tools. So I think that's definitely very, very important. Any thoughts, Tony, from your side?
Well, no, I think definitely it's a concern, and I sit on the Data Marketing Association board and council, and we were in a data conference last year. The government was there talking about their focus on how they're trying to get standards set in. I guess the worry is by the time they get policies in place, AI will already have moved on quicker and faster than they can actually keep up with those policies. So I think we need to figure out a way to kind of be able to be as agile and quick as the developments and the sophistication that AI is. So trying to keep one step ahead of ethics and the legal guardianship side of what is where that spectrum is. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard because all the developments and how fast things are changing nowadays. I think that's the moment when you start and trying to regulate it, that's already changed, and you need to look into to something else and different.
Which is why I think, to your point, the whole brand, your own AI councils, kind of trying to guardianship, kind of where what you are doing for your brand or for your business needs to be in place, despite not having kind of general legislation and policy around it.
No, definitely. I think it is about taking ownership and responsibility, from inside of the company rather than expecting somebody from outside. But how are the things happening in the service world, Frederic?
First, I don't think we should wait for the regulators because there is so much pressure around, kind of national race towards, which country will be seen as the leader, but also so much money that actually regulation, yes, is a little bit late because they don't really understand it, but also on purpose they are slightly slower because they want to make sure that actually their country kind of get there. But I think we have to be responsible for our own customers as opposed to say, legally it's kind of okay. But yeah, I think it's all about making sure that so basically it's about data access. So whatever you're using, what data is actually using, what data is it's kind of feeding, it's extracting insight from what is it actually giving access to, whether it's employees or customers. Make sure you even potentially can put instructions on PI saying, okay, remove any data around this and etc. So it's basically data control, which is for everything we do. So that should be fairly standard. But also, there are things actually we can do which are fairly easy. So things like bias detection. So training the employees around ways to test the system, whatever that is, around bias detection. So basically create scenarios to see if it actually generates, or if it's actually biased. And also you can inject companies' values, you can inject open source frameworks which actually kind of counterbalance any biases and etc. So there are actually tools and ways to kind of fix some of these issues, but it's not embedded within the tool itself, so it's actually up to us to add that layer.
Exactly. So
I'd like to add something.
Oh, yes, please.
We're looking at one side. When it's originated from AI, what's the risk? Very important. We said we need to be responsible. But often we don't talk about business as usual. What are the risks that AI is mitigating? And we got that maths done for our e-commerce business. And our agency said, you need to take 434,000 decisions every day, data, manually, if you had to look everything and stay compliant and be most optimized. We can't do that. But when machine does that, none of us realize. So it's also looking at the other side of, how is AI helping us or can help us to stay compliant, responsible, and provide best experience as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point of view.
No, I was going to say on the compliance piece, because that's what I'm trying to really work on at HL, in the sense of really bringing in a layer of first line defense that can actually help free up our teams to kind of take more work on, because everything is all focused on every individual piece of activity over and over again. To see if it's compliant, and we need to get into a place where we're using AI to kind of give us outputs that actually, in a framework that shows compliance, approval, obviously with review, humanized review on top of that to make sure it is client approval, but templating that approach so that we can kind of continue to iterate without having to continue to go back. So it is that, and it's finding specific use cases that will then be really clear, that we can define what is the business challenge and then the opportunity, and how is AI going to help solve that, and then focus in on that, and versus trying to do everything all the time and not doing anything well.
Yeah, wonderful. I think bringing these two aspects in terms of where it can help, and rather than just be scared that is there to drive different tensions. I think that's wonderful aspect. But coming back to your point about biases, Frederic, and basically maybe cultural differences as you operate in companies which are present in different geographies and different countries. How do you manage basically this aspect and make sure that how AI can help you adapt and make sure that you are basically more inclusive and take into consideration any aspects around cultural differences or various aspects of this?
So I think the good one of the benefits actually of Gen AI is almost like a mirror. So trying to make sure that actually it doesn't, it's not biased or it doesn't create anything risky or too random, forces us to define the guardrails and the guidelines that previously we probably rely on a human.
Yeah.
But chances are they will actually make mistake and it will happen, but it will kind of be pushed under the carpet. But now it's, because I think basically it's almost like you can create mistake at scale. So now it's fairly scary, then we are forced to put the guardrail. So for example, we are in Ireland and the UK. And then when we are working on the content assistant, it was okay, how can we make sure that it doesn't use US-based US-based expressions or British expressions, let's say, whenever it creates content for Ireland. So basically we are forced to define, but what that is, what would an Irish person care about or be upset about. Mm-hmm. But that's actually something that we never thought about properly before, so that was quite good. We even taught it humor, Irish humor. So now it knows how to use grand, which is interesting because basically, so I have actually an Irish person on my team, and we spent 2 hours. That person trying to explain to me when to use grand and when it's not okay. It was like, anyway, and then it was okay. How can we codify this? So I think it's this kind of nice way, we are forced to codify some of these kind of cultural things, which is interesting, bad and good, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely taking that and bringing into as part of AI, and that's basically training it to get better. That's probably one key area. But any
I
thoughts
think
from you?
I need to learn a bit on this from Frederic, especially on the grad bit. But we have a little reverse, and principally, obviously, as everyone's marketers here, we can only do as much. Everyone's limited resources. We actually look at humans are more similar than different across geography. Mm-hmm. So if you do your base really well, and that is where we use AI, let's say in e-commerce, we get our base content done by AI because you can't possibly write for 530 retailers across the world, different for their algorithms. But we ensure that AI does the hard work of taking the brand guidance, cultural, brand consistency, compliance, does the job. And we currently rely more on the humans. That we say that earlier, a copywriter would have written those, and hence it would have been impossible. Now they have all the best of the base copy, and now all of a sudden that copywriter is just a proofreader, and they literally make changes in AI, and with that context, then AI understands that why is Double 11 so important in China, and Dia de Muerte so important in Latin America. So we have a little reverse, but I would love to learn how AI is helping us in cultural nuances later.
Yeah, no, definitely something we can explore. Any thoughts from you, Tony?
Just everything you've already said. I mean, our focus is really obviously in the UK right now, so I don't have kind of the challenge of demographics to kind of focus in on. But I think it is, to your point, I like that whole idea of like getting your base right, because I think everything needs to start from there. And then you iterate on top.
Yeah, so definitely doing the things, and the key most important things when you talk about marketing and stay relevant there, that's fundamental aspect. So just looking to the time, because we'd like to open, of course, to the questions. So around these areas around tools utilized and how these are implemented and creating solutions rather this or any other around this humanizing AI or ethics. Any questions from public, please share with us. So if you have something you'd like to explore, because yes, please.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm an AI engineer turned marketer. I've been very fortunate to play the forefront of it. My question's more around the openness and to being transparent about the use of AI. Like you have platforms where you have Meta mentioned that it's AI enabled, or you have digital watermark that comes from Adobe, for example. But for something that's copyright or something like AI enabled, which is not 100% AI generated. So how do we marketers classify them and be transparent about use of AI, which is not 100% AI generated, but still influenced? Would you label it as AI?
I would say yes. You need to be transparent. In fact, we were talking before this exactly on this topic, how it's so important to tell in a chatbot you're talking to an AI assistant than feigning it. Like the most recent example in my organization, we did a massive campaign on Snickers, chocolates, where we got a virtual avatar of a very famous coach. And we ensured that every communication always had that I am not Joe Marino, I am his virtual, version of that. So I think it's really, really critical. We all are intelligent humans, and we appreciate it when a marketing organization is trying to help us out, give us more personalized, communication, and not trying to fool us.
Perfect. Yeah, because I was thinking, I think it's impossible to always label because we'll have to say, oh, I use this spelling corrector, which means it's almost like everything will be basically AI enabled, and it's kind of destroy the purpose. So I think it's more whenever it's important for someone to know. So let's say if it's an image of a product and the image was touched by AI, I think it's important to let someone know because there might be changes in the authenticity of actually the description of that product. But if it's, say in our case, if it's a description of a hotel, which is, so it's not so much the image of the hotel, but more the description. I don't think it's necessary to say that because basically it's quite, it kind of doesn't matter. It's okay, this hotel that's the address and XR. Whether the address is written by AI doesn't matter. It's because it's a fact. So I think because I think if we go into saying it basically all of our currently everything we write is actually AI enabled.
But this is the gray area that we all have to struggle with, and actually where is that spectrum of very openly chatbot voice activated, I think, interaction definitely, but then how do you bring that into copy nuances and why human intervention is still so important, I think, in terms of nuancing those outputs so that it's still, you're using it for optimization and efficiencies, but you're still kind of crafting it in a way that's going to be genuine and authentic for the brand.
I think it's still a bit of gray area.
Yeah.
But I think the degree of utilization of AI to generate something would be a better way to gauge it.
So I think probably it's about keeping the balance and keeping this authenticity and make sure that, and it's also about honesty, towards your customers. And I think they value this quite a lot in terms of when you alter something, as you talk about images or some key things which have an impact on their decision versus some other elements which may not be so significant. Anything to, okay.
No, I think a different example, but Zomato, which is one of India's largest food delivery company, unicorn, they recently recognized that they can't differentiate between restaurants' AI or non-AI generated images. So they literally put a ban saying that if you're using AI generated images, we will not entertain that. So I think it's a critical question of how do we answer it, and I totally agree from Frederic's point that when it's the product, you need to be very transparent. but probably it's like when you're, ensuring that you're making it better, like and copy, then of course you can obviously don't have to mention. You literally use it as a tool to take your copy and make it better.
And I think that nicely brings us to kind of the last part of our discussion. And of course, I would like to invite everybody to raise questions on point, which is the future of AI, and especially looking to the new generations coming. Gen Z being born and using AI technology as if very on a regular base and having being working with this on a regular base. How do you see AI developing? How do you see this being implemented across different industries? We didn't really touch this topic, but I think that in various sectors, there is a very different approach and way to use AI, let's say. So how do you see this moving forward, evolving, especially in terms of adoption, usage, impact, and very much, again, looking a bit into how do you see integrating the new generations of marketeers into the business? Any thoughts?
I think we probably move towards more agentic ecosystem. So currently, a lot of our use cases are, okay, you've got an AI entity doing a thing. But I think from now and especially next year, we'll see a lot of teams of AI agents, so now the tools are actually there, but we haven't yet tapped into most of them. So basically, you've got, so in our case, let's say if it's an editorial team, instead of having ChatGPT creating content, it's basically a team of AI agents. So you've got the editorial manager, you've got, emergency messaging specialist. So you got basically all of these trained specialists, and then you've got a QA, you've got a cultural assessor, and then basically these agentic framework will produce something which basically will be on a completely different level than what we currently produce. And I think we'll reach a point where it will actually be really hard to determine whether it's AI generated or it will probably be better than what most humans would have created, because instead of one person creating something, even if they're specialists, you will have, you can have 10 entities assessing, questioning themselves, improving that output, improving within a few seconds. So I think definitely agentic framework would be, I think, the next thing.
Yeah, so the next generation will be a bit of a set of integrated solutions when we talk about AI rather than various tools.
So basically teams of AI agents.
So
Okay.
It's a scary topic. The AI agents is really, really intriguing and scary at the same time. But I think, as all of us would agree that, we don't have dearth of work or what we want to do. As marketers, we need to do a lot more, which was not possible. Probably Christmas is coming, everyone will have their own campaign in their own industry, but you're always limited what you can do and can't. What AI enables you to do a lot more, makes it possible to do a lot more. So I think that is definitely one of the key trends. Second is, I think there is a lot of conversation, I don't know how many are from agency world, but there's when I talk to agencies, some of them are very disturbed, what's going to happen. But probably to look at it in a different light, this is an opportunity for a lot of people in agency side as well, because they can almost redefine themselves and offer, which would have needed them to have, like you said, hundreds of people to do, with a very lean team, which is core minds, and then using the scary agents in the back end of AI. But I would say it's a possibility of tomorrow, but I think others will know much better.
Yeah, so definitely looking towards efficiency and really driving this further and harder, while delivering more with less from human perspective.
Yeah, I guess for me, what I would love to see is it just being a seamless integration into our strategy. I think it feels still very kind of bolted on and ad hoc, and kind of we're trying to still catch up. And I see it as an added cost or labor. And I think as you look back to kind of previous innovations around technology and digital, it's now become very part and parcel to everything we do every day. And I would hope that AI will become a very seamless integration into just our own environment and what we're doing, you know, and keeping it kind of one eye on AI for good in its broadest sense, but from a marketing sense, just for good in the sense that it is actually providing opportunity to think differently, opportunity to do more potentially with less budget, opportunity to, you know, come up with new product innovation.
No, absolutely, and
scale.
built towards some possible trends, and probably there is one framework we are working and developing and testing now, which is looking into what will drive this adoption and integration, and it's very much understanding how this can use. Any tool will be able to use us, but also it's about understanding that particular tool. So, you know, going back to probably digital marketing, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, it looked like the same, a bit different beast. Yeah, so now feels AI, it's a different beast. We try to integrate in whatever we do. So probably a few years from now, or maybe a few months from now, this will become like one unique solution, which will help us get better. I know that we are very close to the end. Any kind of quick questions do we have? Yes.
Or observation.
Hi, Joanna from Salesforce. I just wanted to say that we launched agents at Dreamforce, if you didn't hear, and I experienced building my first agent last week. And yeah, all our customers, they built over 5,000 agents at Dreamforce. So AI agents are a reality now, and we're going live next week with our customers. So if you haven't yet built one, we've got an event next week. You're welcome to come along for free and build your own agent. It's all voice recognition. It took me 10 minutes to build one, and now it's being integrated into your CRM. So if you've got a Salesforce CRM, AI is all built in, all be integrated. So please do have a go. If you've got your CRM, use it, because you know it's here, and I was just amazed how efficient it was. So I think it's that what you were saying, the humans with agents doing it together to make you more efficient. It's not going to replace us, but I think that ability to use them in the right way, I think is really important. And I think you know the more we can adopt and use and become more efficient as marketeers, I think it's really exciting. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for our wonderful guests.
I was going to say thank you everybody for being here. As quoted by the economist Richard Baldwin, AI won't take your job. It's somebody using AI that will take your job.
Yes.
So as a laggard, I'm glad I'm here. I've learned a lot. So thank you very much for the panellists and moderating.
Thank you.